Good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome to this joint session of question answers. As we have entered in the new year, our topic today is Pakistan's construction industry in 2023. What are the prospects and headwinds we are going to face, and how can we contribute to meet these challenges for the construction industry growth in Pakistan? My name is Syeda Fakhar-Un-Nisa. I'm country manager for Pakistan at Hill International, and I'll be serving your host today. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be hearing a joint discussion which is curated by Hill International and Civil Press Structure Engineer Magazine, which is a US-based publication. We are having Mr. Luke with us, who is the chief editor for this publication and who will be leading the discussion with our honorable speakers. On behalf of Hill International, it's my pleasure and honor to invite Mr. Najeeb Haroon to speak to this joint discussion to have his valuable insight. Mr. Najeeb Haroon has done the Masters in Civil Engineering and is involved in construction since 1987. Currently, Mr. Najeeb Haroon is serving as an elected chairman of Pakistan Engineering Council. Pakistan Engineering Council is a statutory body established in 1976 under an Act of Parliament to regulate the engineering profession across the country and perform its function as an autonomous body. Its engineering profession shall function as a key driving force to achieve rapid and sustainable growth in all economical and national and social fields. We all appreciate that Mr. Najeeb Haroon, as Chairman PC, in line with the VNF government of Pakistan, is striving at most to improve quality of engineering education, accreditations, and professional systems, and is synchronizing all these with best international standards and practices, which are being recognized by prestigious engineering institutions, accords, and organizations. We also have with us Hill Senior Vice President, Asia Pacific and Technical Core Team, Mr. Syeda Mneimne. I would say that Mr. Syeda Mneimne is leading Hill's team to a new phase of growth in Asia Pacific region. As we have entered to 2023 with the pandemic receding and works resuming in Asia Pacific region, our speakers will talk focused on Pakistan's construction industry prospects and challenges in 2023 to foster learning, inspiration, and provoke the conversation that matters for the future growth in Pakistan. Now, moving along to our session, please welcome Mr. Luke leading the discussion, Mr. Najeeb Haroon, and Mr. Syeda Mneimne, who will be speaking to us on prospects and challenges in 2023 for construction industry in Pakistan, and what advantages an international company like Hill International, who has its footprint in Pakistan now, can bring on the table in collaboration with a body like Pakistan Engineering Council. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the opening session. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Luke to take the floor with our speakers. Over to you, Luke. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm excited to dive into these questions. We have a few general questions today. Feel free to steer the conversation in any direction you see fit as the experts. But just diving into this first question overall. So what are your overall thoughts on Pakistan's construction industry in terms of prospects and problems?
Well, Pakistan is disproportionate in many ways, and unfortunately, construction is not recognized as an industry, even in 2023. The banking sector, the other industries do not recognize construction as an organized sector or an industry. It's still evolving. I've been in office at the Pakistan Engineering Council now for 16 months. Now, Pakistan Engineering Council, being the regulatory body, not only regulates the constructors, the consultants also, and all engineers, which are the backbone of all consulting firms and construction firms. The universities which award them degrees, they are also given accreditation by the Pakistan Engineering Council. So in this case, organizing an unorganized sector professionally and bringing it to the level where, because Pakistan is at a stage where even the dust has not been removed from the surface. I mean, everything has to be done, whether that's infrastructure, whether that is dams, drainage, canal system, transmission lines, power sector, call it railway system, call it highways, motorways, every industrial sector, housing sector, affordable housing, fifth largest country in the world, population-wise, and lagging behind so much. But a lot of frogging can be done, and if we can put the fundamentals right. So this is the thing we are approaching, and all the development that has took place in South Asia around us and in some parts of Europe, where there is saturation, where the population is not big, these economies have grown, they've saturated. Now, they are looking for opportunities elsewhere. So Pakistan is a great opportunity for most companies which have developed in Turkey, Malaysia, here and there around, whether that's Europe, etc. So everybody is keen, but we have to put things in order in the house, in-house, so that we can benefit from that, and the construction industry can progress by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. Yeah, and you touched on this a little bit at the end of your answer, but I was wondering if you could elaborate on it a little more. Could you elaborate on kind of some of those major investors and why they're investing, and if there are any kind of larger emerging trends within those investments?
Yeah, because this country, Pakistan, is trained, like I said. I mean, disproportionate is the right word, I would say, that the tax to GDP ratio. So, there is an economy that is undocumented also. So there's a lot of money where people are rich and the government is poor. When you can't collect the taxes, so maybe indirect taxes are applied, etc. So the investors have money, and the easy part, without the infrastructure, etc., they go for the basic insecurity of the people in the housing sector. Unfortunately, in the absence of housing sector, because housing sector is lagging behind, and we are talking about more than shortfall of more than 5 million houses at present, which is ever growing, because we are one of the largest population-wise growing country, like I said. So there are so many areas to control and balance so that we could benefit. So the investment used to come from abroad also. And when I say the overseas Pakistani, the rate of return was very good as compared to the developed nations, etc. And maybe the indirect advantage of taxes, etc. The liabilities are less, like in any third world country. The regulations are less. So investors have been there, but everybody is there for a quick buck, because if the system can't hold them, if the system can't control and can't provide the infrastructure, in areas which were built for, like, the density is increasing, and the requirement of water or sewage disposal or garbage disposal, solid waste management, all these things missing. So we have, whatever development has taken place, it's a concrete jungle. And in the absence of social housing, etc. Because in this country, people who can afford, they can afford maybe 4 to 6 servants also, and they also have to live somewhere. So it's a kind of a mess which we are trying to clear and navigate the construction industry as a front runner, which would set pace for the remaining industries, the 40 odd or 50 odd industries which will come into play by providing support, the steel, the cement, the tiles, the cable, whatever, everything, sanitary ware, etc. So construction has to provide the front runner, and PC has to regulate a lot of constructors and consultants, which we are doing in many ways, and maybe I can elaborate on that, how we are doing that. Even looking at the option of a third party rating, because because the problem is in the public sector. The problem is not in the private sector. Saeed will bail me out. The private sector is very consistent. They would generally, they won't get it wrong. They would assess the consultant or the constructor on the basis of the past experience, their delivery, their track record. So, but in the public sector, where there is public money, that is the area which is neglected, where there are mostly failures, and in the recent past, where there was erratic inflation and erratic, price adjustment. So nearly everything came to a standing halt because of this price, inflation, or call it price escalation.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just kind of looking forward a little, again, we touched on this. We've touched on this a few times in the discussion already. But looking forward to what are the challenges the construction industry faces in Pakistan, and what are some of the solutions?
We don't have a construction bank, like I said. So the construction bonds, guarantees, and investment to the construction companies. The construction companies couldn't develop into those dimensions. Like, there are very few really high-rise, if you'll call them, or middle-rise buildings, There is no skyline. Even in a city like Karachi, okay, there, if you'll go across the city, maybe on the beach front, you will see a few spots here and there. So that way, like I said, everything is a challenge because nothing has been done in an organized fashion. The consultants also, couldn't grow. They didn't have that exposure. So, a lot of joint ventures, a lot of Hill has been involved, I know, for the last maybe 4 odd years here in Pakistan, Hill International. And I'm sure Said will bear me out that there is a lot of delta, there is a lot of catching up because, before we could really benefit from good joint ventures in terms of consulting inputs coming from abroad. Things which are very, very normal, very, very routine, like dispute resolutions, etc. Are problems. The structuring is there in the developed world or even in the Middle East. Like I said, we have to look for customized, and we have to look for Pakistan specific solutions. Like I'll give you an example. In Saudi Arabia or UAE, two issues are not there. So they can talk about fixed price contract, lump sum contract. Why? Because the cost of energy is nearly frozen, okay, because of the whatever advantages they have. Similarly, their dirham dollar or real dollar parity is the same for decades, for that matter. Here, every morning when you wake up, the parity changes. The rupee slips against the dollar, so that in terms of dollars, the contract value actually, deflates. So, and the cost of energy rises, erratically. So, Pakistan Engineering Council has worked out price adjustment formulas, of course, escalation as well as de-escalation, sensitive on a monthly invoice basis. Okay? Because when you don't know, you can gamble, but you can't do proper bidding. So some benchmarkings have to be done so that we receive good competitive bidding, and the constructors or the contractors are not assuming or taking unnecessary risks. So whatever increase or decrease takes place, because it takes place on a daily basis, mostly increase. So they are compensated so that there is no dispute out there. So we are working that out, and we are communicating with consultants, constructors, clients, public sector, of course, the armed forces have a major share into the construction industry also. So we are taking on board all these stakeholders and bringing about, trying to mitigate the risk, of contracts getting getting held up.
Yeah. And Saeed, would you like to add anything to the challenges and the solutions to the construction industry in Pakistan?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Luke. Look, first of all, thank you, Mr. Najeeb Haroon. You hit it right on the nail on all aspects of the challenges in Pakistan. If I may add, look, Hill International is primarily a consultant that manages risk in any construction sector. So risk here in Pakistan is really the major challenge, starting from construction funding of construction companies that it's nearly non-existent, which creates risk in the continuation of activities of the contractor. And therefore, there's also a risk on the schedule. There's a risk on delivery. Hedging on exchange rate is also non-existent, and the depreciation of the local currency against major international currencies continues to cripple the construction industry, and therefore the clients and investors who come from abroad, who rightfully so look for an opportunity in Pakistan, whether it's on the housing or industrial or infrastructure, but their rate of return is affected. There's a high risk as well. As Mr. Najeeb Haroon said, they are used to certain type of contracts to sign with local contractors that really are not suitable for Pakistan and the current economic situation, due to escalation, logistic challenges, bringing material from abroad. So the risks continue and they grow, and we as an international firm who have policies and procedures that we adapt to, of course, to each local condition. We face challenges in mitigating any risks or most of the risk on behalf of the client, on behalf of the developer, on behalf of the investor, and on behalf of the contractors. When we are appointed as a consulting engineer, the role of the engineer is really to protect the relationship between the client and the contractor. Also protect the end user at the end of the day by making sure mitigating all the risks related to quality, to safety, and delivery, on-time delivery. So we're in between, and we sometimes feel that our hands are tied, and therefore we rebel a little bit. But at the end, we have to sit down and face to face with the representatives of PEC or construction firms, and then really express with them that we understand the challenges, we understand what you're facing, and we urge them to really look at possibilities before commencement of work, to talk to clients and make some put some sense into their heads, And at the same time, we talk to the client. I say, look, please understand the local situation. This is gonna cause you nothing except delays and and therefore diminish your return on investment. Another challenge I see in Pakistan, and I would really like to address that with some of the responsible authorities, is training of local labor force. Pakistan is a brain drain to the West or to the Middle East. There's a lot of qualified engineers and trade people who really leave Pakistan for better living conditions. And it's a shame that there is no programs that would attract them to come back and really help Pakistan rebuild, help Pakistan improve the construction industry and the engineering industry. So we've tried to think about that. However, the labor force is seasonal labor force, and therefore is a challenge to train and improve the quality and safety of the workplace. So this is sort of in general that we have faced. Yes, as Mr. Najeeb Haroon said, we've been in Pakistan for over 4 years, and we continue to put the foot to the pedal, and then we really want to trying to find a perfect harmony between all three stakeholders, which including us, the clients and the contractors on all fronts.
Yeah.
I'll take a moment here. Syed, I would love that Hind should stay because your basic, investment into learnings in Pakistan is already there. And I carry, when she was saying it, 1987, I've been in profession from 1979, 87 is the year when I came back from US after doing my master's in civil, majoring in construction management and minor in from the business school. I went to school at the Oregon State University. So I have this opportunity. I'm a person from the private sector. I have no conflict of interest. I don't work for the government, okay? So say we can benefit from what the rest of the world have done. And I think, I've been able to create that harmony between different sectors, giving them that confidence, the consultants. So we've even revised the rules of ownership of the consultants so that the perpetuality of consulting firms, they should perpetuate generation after generation. Similarly, we have made some intrinsic changes, major thing into the hiring of trainee engineers. We are going back to the raw material, the university, the curriculum out there. Okay. This morning we had a conference with 30 vice chancellors from all over Pakistan were there, and 30 people representing the industry, so that the end product that is coming out of the university has to match the requirement of the industry. So, that way we are doing in multi-directions, and because this is a constitutional body, this is a statutory body, this is an autonomous body, and the Act, the 1976 Act of the National Assembly, through which this Pakistan Engineering Council was created, it says that Pakistan Engineering Council will act as think tank for the federal government. So we will try to show some light of the day to the decision-making process. We are trying to integrate. We are forcing our way through because it's yesterday, and I think things have started changing. The acceptability is there, and I promise you that we are going for because the contracts in the past would be lopsided. Now we are going for standardized contracts. We engineering. We have signatory to the Washington Accord. For technologists, we'll be helping them to go for the Sydney Accord. For the diploma holders, the technicians, etc., will try and become part of the Dublin Accord. So the whole body will function, in an integrated fashion. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lou. Thanks for bearing with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you both for those
Excellent.
wonderful answers. Yeah. Yeah. And so we discussed earlier a need for investment in both infrastructure and housing industries or sectors. So what is the solution to attracting more investment to those kind of sectors? And are there any other sectors that need that kind of special investment?
I mean, the funds are out there, in the private sector. Bahia Town was one of the biggest venture, which was locally, they facilitated, they gave that confidence, and the fund came through. I mean, it's the international model. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. The public money,
Exactly.
the pension funds, the municipal bonds, they have to go into the infrastructure, okay? And it would be asset backed. It would be sustainable structure to pay through the stream, to the pension funds and to the investors in the municipal bonds, etc. So, we already have a local credit rating companies. 2 of them are in place. Pakistan Engineering Council has also contacted them to do the rating, so that we can work out, because every client, whether public or private, has to go and evaluate the constructor or the consultant. We are looking at it that each constructor would go out and have a third-party rating, because one could be very articulate, very connected, very good, very shining, but the rating might be poor. They make their balance sheet, the quality of engineers out there, their track record from the past delivery. So we are evolving the system, but like the funding, the rate of return, recently the collapse of rupee against dollar or pound or whatever has changed that. Otherwise, international funding was finding its way through in and out of Pakistan, and because of the incredible rate of return out here, because of all the right and wrong reasons. But we would try to regulate and to give that security to once the system is in place, and and the major reason why I say there are, because companies and investors from Turkey, or Malaysia or Indonesia, or in regions where there is saturation, okay? While these economies were growing, the companies there grew and gained strength and experience and gathered good people. Now, these economies, because of, the population is not so big, they are saturated. So they are looking for greener pastures. I'll give you an example. That if on the table there are 6 glasses and you have a jug of water, 5 of them are full, 1 of them is empty. So you would need to put the water in the glass that is empty. And Pakistan in the region is that glass, which unfortunately for Pakistan, but fortunate for the rest of our friends around, that they can pour a lot of water that can go into it.
Yeah. And Syed, did you have anything to add to that? I know you agreed at the beginning when he said not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, no, Mr. Najeeb Haroon is right. This is not a exactly. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. Investors see foreign investors, foreign direct investors, and Pakistani nationals living abroad also see the benefits, and they want to come back and invest in their homeland. And we need to work together with other consultants and construction firms and the bodies like statutory bodies like PEC on ensuring that their investment is protected in the sense that all the unknowns are are clarified, and then they feel it's safe to put their investment in, whether it's international funding organizations like ADB, AIB, World Bank. Once those the basics are reutilized or applied in the industry based on international standards, they feel safe to lend the country funds to improve their infrastructure and improve the lives of their citizens, and improve the livelihoods as well of the engineering firms and the construction companies as well. And again, it's not a new it's no new technology. It's just a basic reinstatement of the basic terms and conditions and rules and regulations.
One thing, Luke, that at the Pakistani Engineering Council, what we put in specialist projects where Pakistani engineers or consultants or constructors lack experience, we're going for a 70-30. 70% a foreign company can take, but 30% shareholding of the Pakistani constructor or the consultants, etc. So this will help in the gradual technology transfer, also learning transfer also. So we are going for good agreements so that we can invite people, they can come and benefit through the opportunities out here, or because of lack of development out here, so everybody can benefit. But at the same time, the 30% local partners would also gain experience in time through those projects which were never done in the manner it is done internationally.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we've talked a lot about the future and maybe the longer future, but we're sitting right at the start of a new year in 2023. So what are the expectations from the construction industry in Pakistan in 2023?
2023 brings a lot of challenge. Why? Because it's all over. It was day before yesterday that the Prime Minister of Pakistan was visiting Geneva, out there, because of the floods, the destruction, of course, the climate change, whatever. Our contribution into the carbon contribution is very, very low, less than 1%, close to 0.6. But we, the hit has been too big. So there we are pursuing that part also. And of course, the main problem, because of the trade deficit, and the problem today is that we don't have dollars. So basically, I see as a Pakistani, I see this as an opportunity, because a lot of indigenous solutions, a lot of local manufacturing, which otherwise in the past we were too dependent, first on Japan, then on China. Everything was easy. We had money, whichever way it was coming. There were remittances from Pakistanis abroad. Okay, our exports have been low. So we have to bring our house in order in so many ways and in so many dimensions. But not having enough dollars is a forced situation where we have to do a lot of reverse engineering to begin with. We've already started that. Because, of course, when we don't have dollars to buy each thing or the low-hanging fruits, so we have to create, to go for local indigenous solutions, local manufacturing, and local solutions to begin with. And we have to be in the beginning, till we can make our dollars, till we can earn our dollars, till we can, have enough dollars. We have to be very, very selective about how we utilize this foreign currency, where in areas where we have no choice, and we have to work with like the automobile industry, which is now nothing, but unfortunately for 30+ years The Toyota was there, the Honda was there, the Suzuki was there. But, the technology transfer, the deletion program is still 60% plus, maybe 70% plus. We are dependent on imports. And what we are doing is here, like, we get the sheets from imported sheets, and we put it shape it into the body of the car, etc. And maybe the bumper, the dashboards, and some harnesses, etc. So a lot of things, and I'm hopeful, because when you are at a low, when you have no dollars, when you have the luxury of having dollars, okay, it's easy. We have become so, there was redundancy, and so we were having every luxury, buying it from Japan or China or US or wherever, But now we can't afford that luxury. So I'm sure as a nation we will start behaving, and as a nation we'll put our house in order, and we'll be looking for indigenous solutions. We'll be selective about things, and the developer, we are hoping and assuming that they will guide us, help us, and that's why I feel that Hind must stay here. So they've taken their share of the beating, okay, but now for the better times to come, and I promise you that things will get better.
Inshallah, yes, you're right. We've taken a lot of beating. I still have black eyes from the challenges, but look,
the contract on which we came into contact, we finally delivered that site, and we have, closed on all of that. Delivered, the GLP retention, that's not part of this, but
I agree.
we survived, we sustained, and we delivered.
I agree. Now, yes, 2023 brings a lot of challenges with regards to the, I think the government has a big job to, with the help of international funding agencies, to reinstate the damaged areas due to the floods. A lot of agricultural land was damaged and affected the livelihoods of the Pakistani people, and need to, give them the rights of continuing, or starting again, I should say, and again, improving the local production, local manufacturing, with the experience and the technology transfer of foreign consultants and foreign contractors is also important, and it's been very restricted, and then to an extent perhaps scary for foreign consultants and contractors to come in because of non-regulated bodies and protection by the legal power. So that needs to be looked at as well, how an investor, whether it's a consultant or a contractor, to come in and partner with locals, protecting their rights in the legal system.
Yeah. While I agree with Saeed, the problem has been like both sides. Of course, when the foreign companies come, of course they are much trained, have had the exposure of the third world. So still, unfortunately, when the laws or precedences or the arbitration or dispute resolution systems are not placed, so actually the real asset is time. Precious times are lost, and projects get stuck, delayed, and in a country where inflation is in a double digit, okay? So, as the time lapses, the cost increases, becomes prohibitive, and so it's a disaster of sorts. So we're looking at it holistically, Lou and Said, holistically when I say, because it has to be balanced, it has to be standardized, it has to be competitive. It has to be, the whoever is coming here must feel comfortable and must be able to make a decent profit. Otherwise, who will come? in a third world economy where there are challenges everywhere around. So we will be looking forward and facilitating in legal terms also. And we have, through our act, through our bylaws, through our regulations, we are fixing that part also, saying, so whatever little I know, whatever little I learned when I went to school abroad, whatever little I see how the world has developed. I've worked in Middle East also and seen Middle East grow. The assets of Pakistanis abroad who changed the face of the Middle East in the last 30, 40 years, 30 plus years. So, and that is a very rich experience. And like for China, it was the overseas Chinese. For Indians, it was the overseas Indian. I promise you, for Pakistan, it would be the overseas Pakistanis. You know, the richness of their exposure and experience abroad. Once we can provide them congenial harmony out here, they would take the challenge and they will pay back whatever this country has given them to be successful in areas, in countries like US, UK, the first world. So Pakistanis are resilient, and I'm sure they will be able to fight out and deliver, inshallah.
Inshallah. 100% agree.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and I love the positive message. I haven't spent a ton of my writing career focusing on Pakistan, so it's nice that my first discussion is hopeful towards the end, and that there's so much positivity and kind of momentum. It feels like
as an emerging thing, country in the world, Pakistan being disproportionate. On one hand, we are nuclear. On the other hand, we are struggling on basic issues. So do keep studying Pakistan. Keep at least one eye on Pakistan, and we must stay in touch, and we will benefit through the experience of all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I have just one last question for the discussion. This is for Saeed. And it goes along with me not knowing as much about Pakistan, but I'm very familiar with what Hill International does in other areas of the world. But what advantages specifically does Hill International bring to the table in this kind of situation?
Yes, we have started getting involved in projects with in the housing industry with international investors from the Middle East region, basically playing the role of the engineer under contract terms and conditions that are similar to the FIDIC terms and conditions, but bit twisted here and there, sometimes too one-sided, lopsided, as Mr. Najeeb said. But we've been doing the same. We're doing the same for other international investors also in the Islamabad area from the North African region. And so you can see there are interest, and they see the need. They see of course, the return on investment. But as Mr. Najeeb said, they need to be aware that they need to work closely with contractors and with consultants to adapt those contracts to local situation. And with our help, we could do that. We can, smooth the relationship. Fakhar-Un-Nisa is a contract management dispute resolution expert. And so we can highlight the potential challenges and mitigate any possible dispute resolution, and educate the consultants, and when they prepare contract documents on behalf of the clients, to really sit down with all stakeholders and then agree before disagreeing, before all the issues start to arise, and then just to have a successful way ahead, delivering what the country needs, whether it's infrastructure or housing or highways or whatever. So this is where we want really to play a role, and that's why we we would like to work closely with PEC to help create a better environment for all stakeholders.
Lou, 43 and nearly now into the 44th year of my career, Syed, and 36 years after I formed the company, I remained zero arbitration, zero litigation in this part of the world, and a zero claim also that way, claim, okay? And the only way was, because when you don't have precedences, when you don't have systems in place, and the basic rule of geometry that I learned in school was the shortest distance between two points is a straight line, okay? So, because, if you can give me, Prophet Noos, he lived for 900 years. If I'm given those years, I have also got to do a lot of things to be picked, But in this short life, I think we have to, use your experience, learnings, things that are already in place, do a little bit of tailoring, customization as per our needs and requirements, but we have to adopt those successful models which have taken the world wherever it has taken them. And we would like to follow and reach there.
Yeah.
But on a positive note, Lou, 230 odd million people, everything has to be done. That's on the table for the world to participate, to build, and the fifth largest country and a nuclear country which is there to stay. I think we will get the guidance and the help to put our act together.
Yeah. Well, you've convinced me based on this short conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. I can try that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Louis, do you have any more questions?
No, that was it for the questions. I thank you so much for your answers and for your time today.
Thank you, Luke.
Pleasure. Thank you, Lou. Thanks a lot, sir. Nice seeing you. Take care.
Likewise.
Thanks,
I'll see you on a plane like you usually next time.
I'm hopping between Karachi and Islamabad. Every week I spend 3 days there, and over the weekend there in Karachi. So, and whenever you are here, we must meet. And is doing her bit, because we would, of course, recently we had that meeting for the arbitration and dispute resolution, US-based thing. And there's this Dr. Fakhar-Un-Nisa, what's her name?
Dr. Nusrat Paracha.
Nusrat Paracha.
And Mr. Robert was there from America. He joined us from America.
Yeah, I think we're doing on multi-direction. And Lou will keep an eye on us now from here on.
Yes. And if you ever have anything that you think would make a good story in the magazine, or something that you want me to write about, feel free to reach out and send me an email. We have nothing but space in the magazine to write about new places and new topics. So I'm really excited to. It feels like a whole new avenue of content that people in our magazine would. So I'm really excited to learn more.
It's nice to know you, sir, and definitely we'll see more of you, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Okay. So great.
Thank you very much, Luik. If you have any more questions, you can share with me. I can hand over to the speakers, and they can be happy to answer you. Thank you, Mr. Najeeb, and thank you, Syed. And we, as being engineers and having a body like PEC and from the platform of Hill International, will be doing our best, and I'm looking forward to the prosperous Pakistan, not only to 2023, but years ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.